Ballers. Today, we will be doing murder, like a lot of murder. This game is actually kind of long, but chapter 2 is out, but when I get the blood on my hands, I do not want to devalue the cost of badges around the area because of my murder. Today, we'll have to answer a very important question. Can you beat Block's Tales, Swords of Time, without badges? Now, as you can imagine, the rules are pretty simple. Just don't equip badges. That would be pretty cringe if you ask me. Well, it doesn't come up this episode. I won't be allowing myself to equip quality of life badges such as speed spin because they don't affect combat. Oh yeah, and also for the bonus challenge and also for the XP, I will be equipping the hard mode badge for as long as I can to, make the challenge more interesting. For obvious reasons, the challenge doesn't, actually begin until Tutorial Terrio here gives you the first badge, Power Stab. While it is technically possible to get a badge before this point, I don't care what you say, the challenge starts now. I don't know when I'm going to talk about this again, but everything before the cave in this game had like a massive bug when Chapter 2 released. Like, these two enemies were not here before. Like, just completely missing. It was literally just noobs and flying noobs. Now there's like 3 more enemies in this area, which are much tougher. Sorry, I just transcended scripts again. My bad, guys. So anyways, for the level ups, since the only move that uses SP that doesn't require badges to use is literally Dynamite, which is like 2 areas after this. So for obvious reasons, we're already picking HP a lot in this run. Like, a lot. Soon enough, we found ourselves to the first real boss of the run. Noobador and also, I guess, red and blue noobs, they're back again. So I just used a bomb that I got from an enemy earlier, just blow them up instantly, and then started spamming sword on Noobador himself after healing up with Chesburger. When fighting Noobador, you're gonna want to get more Super Ball tosses because they're easier to super guard with the 2, and the other move, Elbow Drop, can inflict confusion if you don't block it, like I did. So yeah, I got lucky this one. He only used Elbow Drop once, and I did confusion didn't activate on me, so I was able to take him down pretty easily. After a short stroll in the caves, we can, actually begin the chapter. Storming the castle, the way. Castle Crashers reference, ? Anyways, we're now in my least favorite part of the chapter, so that's fun, I guess. Now that we're here, I might as well talk about the enemies that make this place so annoying. So first, we got the Smugupines, which are probably the less annoying of the 2 enemies here, but they're still kind of annoying. Their attack is pretty hard to super guard, and they do 4 damage if you don't guard at all, which is kind of common if you try to go for the super guard. Since I have hard mode, the timing is like non-existent. And in the other corner, we have these stupid ant armies, which are the single reason it's the most annoying ever. Because these guys, unlike most enemies, they will go before your turn. So even if it's just 1, you are guaranteed to be attacked. It's not fun, especially because there's a fight where there's 4 of them. So really not fun. After doing the legally mandated tutorial to get a badge you're never gonna use, we can finally get to Supreme Ant. Well, after mastering all the text, that is. In theory, Supreme Ant has better stats than Noobador, but in practice, they're both around the same difficulty. Obvious reasons, on your first 2 turns, just take out both the ant armies and then start wailing on Supreme Ant themselves. As long as you just do a normal block against all Supreme Ant's attacks, you should be able to out DPS the boss and eventually snag your victory. So as long as you don't employ the stat of having a skill issue like I almost did at the end, you should be able to pass this fight pretty easily. Also, can I just say how much of a banger this boss's theme is? Too bad this fight is so forgettable that Honestly, the song is more memorable than the boss himself. That's crazy how good the song is, and also how forgettable this boss is. Whatever. Thank God this isn't as annoying as the ant armies. After the fight, we waste all of our ticks on brownies and Road Town. Yes, it's the actual name of this place. Like, I actually thought of Road Town from this name. Anyways, we're broke now. Anyways, after passing through Mayor Monkey's text, we eventually get our hands on the Adventure ID, pass through the gate, and get to the actual Something Mountain proper. Somehow, the enemies here are like some of the least threatening we've seen so far. Like, all of them have not too bad super guards. Except with maybe the exception of not Sleepy Eagle, Cheeky Eagle. But overall, the enemies in this place aren't that bad. You just don't encounter too many of them. After a very long walk through this place, you finally encounter an actual boss in here. Banished Knight, which for some reason, despite being implied to have failed the king many times, is stronger than the actual knights in the castle. It's pretty cringe if you ask me. While the Banished Knight may only have 12 HP, it just does a casual 8 damage so you don't super guard its attack. Oh yeah, and did I mention? Banished Knight is one of the hardest attacks to guard in the entire game, coming out extremely fast, but not fast enough that you can just tap immediately once he gets to you. Despite all this, I still managed to employ the tactic of great skill and not have to use a single one of my brownies. Yeah, for Spiky Killbot, we just use Bomb and win immediately. That's it. It's the entire fight. After Spiky Killbot, we can finally reach the Lord and Savior of this run, Dynamite. Finally, a move that costs SP and we don't need a badge to use. This is the entire reason I'm not going insane having to deal with these last two bosses. After refusing to save Jim, it's technically not murder. We blast our way into the funny castle, and then we proceed to immediately get attacked by a guard. Funny. Anyways, the enemies here aren't that bad either. They're still kind of easy to super guard. The other enemy in this area, the Crossroad Cronies, like why are they called that? Are actually not that bad. They're probably more dangerous. They're a little bit harder to super guard, and when you do super guard them, you don't deal damage back, which are projectiles. Still not that bad. In fact, the names deal more damage to me. Please help. Oh yeah, also, it's at this point that I realized that enemies don't use attacks randomly. They actually do them on cycles. Like, for example, the Knight will always do Knightly Slash, Shield Toss, and then Defend. Which actually means I didn't get lucky during the Nubador boss fight. That's just how the cycle was. That's pretty cool, I guess. After, doing some, exploring of the castle variety and also blowing stuff up of the variety, we get to a very, 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 very long stairs. And on the top of the stairs, we get greeted to the semi-final boss of the chapter, Sentient Statue. Yay. Sorry about that. Anyways. As you expect, what we're going to do here involves a little bit of explosives. Just a teensy bit. Unless you're a maniac who decide to upgrade SP 3 times, you'll have to use a sneaky latte to get your SP back to be able to finish the job, since I do not feel like chewing through these guys' HP as swords. Especially because this guy has a lot of damage. More than Banished Knight somehow. So your best bet is just to make like the Arby's commercial and have all your food blow up, and this fight should be pretty easy. Just like get good at super guarding, I guess. Not that bad actually. After beating Sentient Statue, we skip over all the shops, break a window that off screen, see some guards build a barricade, use very legal tactics to break it down, if you ask me. Just casually drop a chandelier on them. Nothing bad will happen, am I right, guys? After that, we grab a funny key to the funny kitchen, go in the funny kitchen after walking through the funny hallway, get the funny wizard, the funny wrong potion, get the funny wizard to blow up the kitchen, and get to the top of the pile of the funny kitchen after the funny explosion. Before doing the legally amended tutorial to a card we're gonna use like once in the chapter, and then go to use the funny treasure room to get the funny key, open the funny door to the funny boss. After matching through some more text for the last time, thankfully, we get to the cooking, and oh boy, is he a doozy, bro. Like all the bosses in this castle, they all do like truckloads of damage. And this one is the worst out of them. Scepter Strike does a whopping 12 damage and freezes you for 2 turns, which basically gives him another turn. And Freeze also freezes you for 2 turns and does 14 damage. Thankfully, you can easily parry Freeze, but Scepter Strike is practically impossible to super guard, so normal guards are gonna have to do. And couple that with the fact that Chapter 2 also buffed this guy by giving him 10 extra HP. His summoning, his healing move grants defense, and now Sword only penetrates 1 defense, so that actually matters now. And also I could have sworn Scepter Strike only used to freeze it for only 1 turn, instead of 2 that it does now. Needless to say, you die. Obviously, for this fight, we will still be using high-octane explosives, but even with your 15 SP that I have now, by the time I use both of my sneaky lock plays, this guy was still alive, so I just sword down the rest of his HP. Oh yeah. And when he summons, his next move will be guaranteed to be his heal move, so don't bother attacking a summon, because he'll just get healed up. And also, don't wait to attack. You should wait to attack the summon after the buff wears off, so you can 2-shot it with your sword. And if it's a knight, you'll just have to get a counter off, so it goes down to 4 HP. I've got to say, this one has really made me appreciate the power of dynamite. I mean, personally, I never used it during all 3 of my chapter 1 run-throughs after I figured out what it did, because I always just used sword with knight and power staff because it does the same amount of damage and is more SP efficient. This thing really can get the job done, honestly. I mean, with the power of the apple pie, it did manage to get Ice King to get buffed and apple pie banned from the Road Town shop, which has gotta say a lot for its power, if you ask me. I was trying to tell them you should really try to do Cruel King without the badges. Now that he's refightable in the Zaza zone, I don't really got any ideas for stalling, so I guess I just gotta let you guys watch the rest of the fight.
Yummy! Coffee!
And that's gonna be it for today's episode. I would say I'm excited for Chapter 2, but honestly, I'm kind of scared of what the Chapter 2 bosses have to offer.